Good morning. Welcome to Fibertown. This is episode 83, and it's October the 8th, 2014. I'm Emily. I am Chain of Fools on Ravelry and Fibertown with an R-E on Instagram. And I'm here in my living room, and I'm dressed for cold weather. So we're going to talk about all sorts of things today. I have so much to share. But first, let me welcome Crafty Nadine, who is Nadine from the UK, from Manchester. And ever since I wrote your name down on my show notes, I've been singing Manchester, England, England. Yeah, Alice is looking at me like I'm crazy. So welcome, Nadine. Thank you for saying hello in the thread. You must have a new baby by now, or soon. She said when she introduced herself that she was expecting a baby. The baby was due next Friday. So that was, a week ago? Anyway, I hope it all went well and you have a brand new baby, as well as a brand new wheel. She has a brand new wheel, and that could be interesting, getting some time with your new wheel when you have a new baby. But congratulations on both counts. And we also have You Name It, who is Marnie from Seattle, Washington. And hi, Marnie. Thanks for saying hello. She has two girly dogs, a Rottweiler and a German Shepherd. She calls them her German girls. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming back, and thank you for checking me out. And thank you so much for all of your comments. I've been trying to play catch up with responding to comments in the Ravelry threads, and I go through periods where I'm very good about it and then others where I'm terrible. But all of your well wishes, I read everything, and hopefully I respond to them eventually. And just thank you. That's just hearing from you is the main reason I do this podcast, is that sense of getting to know the fiber community out there. So thank you also to those of you who bought patterns with the coupon code FRU. That is still good. I think it's going to go for another week. And when I finish the coupon code, I will post on Instagram and also mention on the podcast the total that has been raised for Wendy's medical fund. She is still in the hospital, being treated for hairy cell leukemia, which is a rare form of leukemia, and she needs, she's been in the hospital for a few weeks now. I want to say 2, maybe 10 days. Anyway, insurance issues aside, you're going to have bills, and she's not working at the moment. So, obviously. So anything that you can do to help out would be greatly appreciated. So you get $1 off a pattern, and those are for my older patterns, not the new one. All of that after PayPal fees goes to FRU. All right, so Season of Scraps is ongoing, so keep entering all of your scrappy items, log cabin blankets, with scraps, anything with scraps, toys, socks, mittens, hats, scrap blankets. I will show you mine later. I've been going great guns on it, and it's fun. So I have FO, I have 1FO, I have whips, I have Mojo Talk, I have spinning and weaving, and I have up and coming today. So before we get into all of that, let me share with you. I've shared this before. It's been a while. I think last Christmas I shared this garment with you. This was knit out of handspun 50/50 BFL silk from Julie Spins, and it's in the Moonlight colorway, and I love it. I love this color. So I improvised this pattern a couple years ago, maybe 2, I want to say. I knit it on my way to Philadelphia, and then I finished it there, and I modeled it in Philly for my FO pictures, and I love it. So I decided to write up the pattern in a bona fide way and publish it on Ravelry. And I'm calling it the MPG, multi-purpose garment, and it is up on Ravelry, so check it out. It is for sale, and a portion of this also goes to FRU. So So what this is all about is it's about a DK weight. So you could use hand spun, you could use a commercial yarn, you could just kind of play around with it. It is sort of a recipe in that respect, but I've given you firm directions on how to go about this. So I started out wanting to make a cowl, and I realized quickly that I wouldn't have enough, that it was going to be too short for me to use this amazing midnight blue portion of the yarn, because I started in the lighter portion. So I realized that if I increase the stitch count, that I could make it be a capelet if I wanted. So that's one thing it can do. And then it is also a lovely cowl. And let me take this hat off. My hair is not camera ready today, as usual. Now for this amazing midnight blue part, I did some short rows, made this extra fabric so that you can wear it. If it's blustery, you can wear it as a wimple. So it is a multi-purpose garment. It does 3 things. And this is probably the easiest way to wear it, as a cowl. Anyway, check it out. This could be very adaptable. It comes in 2 sizes, small to medium and medium to large, and it's very easy to modify. It's really just a cast on in the round. You hide your increases in these garter ridges, and then there's short rows in the back. So there you go. That is the multi-purpose garment. I'm going to take it off because I have this other thing on, which is an FO. So check it out if you're interested. I highly recommend a drapey yarn with a silky base, a bit of silk in there. I burned myself, some grease splatter, and this one has gotten infected, so it's all good though. Don't fret, I'm okay. I seem to be very accident prone lately. Okay. My FO of the week is my worsted boxy. I am wearing it. This is by Joji Locatelli. It's knit out of Malabrigo Rios in the Paris Night colorway. Yeah, I'm not going to stand up. I don't love how this looks on me. I should have made it longer. And that's just my body shape. It would look good on a skinnier girl. Not that there's anything wrong with my shape. But it's just very sweatshirt feeling to me. And that's the design. And that's how I will wear it. The yarn has been repurposed, so it is showing some wear already. So that sort of adds to the, I don't know if you can see, yeah. That sort of adds to the sweatshirty feel of this. It's very casual and around the housey, and that's fine. That's fine. It looks good with leggings. It looks good with a skirt. The color, it doesn't look so good with jeans because of the color, but it definitely has some pooling and in kind of an unfortunate location. And I couldn't really do anything about that because since it was repurposed yarn, it was taken out of an old sweater. I couldn't really alternate skeins because there were little bits and bobs, that I had magic knotted together and then unknotted and woven in ends. So I didn't know what skein was what. But it is super comfy. The arms, I was afraid were going to be a little tight, and this one is a little tight. This one I decided to use to sort of relax my gauge as I was knitting it because I knew this one was, but this I don't notice unless I'm thinking about it, so it's not bad. So that's the worsted boxy. I had knitted on size 9s, US 9, 5.5 millimeter, I believe. Could have been 8. I already forgot. It's off the needles. I did consider picking up stitches and adding some more length. I might still do that because it turned out that I had, maybe this much more yarn that I had found sort of in my scrap, one of my many scrap baskets. So we'll see. So worsted boxy, off the needles. And let's talk about whips because how did I get so many whips all of a sudden? My knitting mojo, I have to say, is, I don't know what's going on. I'm just not really feeling it. I don't know. My craft area was a disaster, a really big mess. Here, let me fix this camera. And hang on, let me just show you my majestic beast. There she is, sleeping in the sunshine. Alice, hi baby. You want to come and say hi? Okay. I'm back. I thought she was going to join us, but then the sunspot beckoned her over here. So, yeah, my knitting mojo is not so great. My spinning mojo is up. So I guess we're trading off. There's a trade-off. But my craft area was a disaster. A disaster. It tends to get like that after a fiber festival, and I've been designing, and there's books and pencils and needle gauges and dust and fiber bits everywhere. So I cleaned up. I cleaned up yesterday, and I really enjoyed it. And I went through some older stuff, and I'll share all that with you as we go through the day. But I have cast on some things, and anyway, let me show you, because I'm rambling. Okay, I cast on a Piper's Journey. I've had this pattern. It was gifted to me by, I should have looked that up beforehand. She's Canadian. I'm sorry. Thank you. Maybe I'll have time to look that up. Probably not. So this is Quince & Company Chickadee. I got it looped. This is the nasturtium colorway. It's under there. Nasturtium. Looped Yarnworks in DC. It's this amazing orange. It's a redder orange, but I love it. You can tell I like orange. Where is it? Like the Dancing Geek, James is a big fan of orange. Felt a little bit like a kindred spirit there when I discovered his podcast on YouTube, and my gosh, everything is orange. So I cast on US 6s, which are 4 millimeters, and this is by Paula Emmons Feasley, and it's a garter stitch body, and it's got a lace motif edging. I think I need to go up to a 7. In fact, I think this just needs to come off the needles. It needs to go on a 7, and it's just a wee bit too, not as stretchy as I would want. It's a little too dense. So this will also give me an opportunity to check. I made a modification with the edging. So she just has you knit the edge stitch right there. I decided to start slipping it down here, so you get this, let me show you it better. So you get this prettier edge there of the slip stitch. And I was starting to get concerned that maybe it wasn't as stretchy as the regular knit stitch. But I think it's plenty stretchy. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Recast on with 7s and slip the edge stitches. Slip the first edge stitch and knit the last edge stitch through the back loop. That's what I'll do. And that's what I've been doing on my scrap blanket, and I love the way it looks. Jan Smiley. It's my bag. So that's the Piper's Journey. And then I have this sock. This is my cable spun, hand spun. I did a gourmet stash pairing. I think it was merino yak silk. And it's a very fun yarn. But man, it is not knitting up the way I need it to. It's not fun to knit. And it's the gauge. It's like bulletproof. It's bulletproof. It was so unpleasant that I decided to start the heel flap after this much leg rather. I like the way it looks. I like the way the yarn is visually. I don't like the feel of it. I don't like the knitting of it. It's just too dense. And I've gone up a needle size, but I should probably go up more. I don't know. So this is the way the heel flap is starting. It's bulletproof. There's just not a lot of give to it though. And I think maybe that's the silk content as well. I don't know. Maybe this was probably a number of bad choices on my part. I think I will try to finish this one sock and see how it goes. But man, it is not number one on my to knit list. It's going back in my Bling Your String bag. I won both of those bags. Lucky girl. All right, what else? Well, as I was going through a lot of my old magazines in my cleanup, I thought I needed slippers. It's getting cold. I needed to knit myself slippers. And I had a friend gave me this pattern, French press felted slippers. And I thought, ooh, they're gorgeous. I've had this pattern for a while. I could make this. And then somebody else on Instagram suggested the Duffers pattern. And then I had a reality check about felting in me, because if you saw when I tried to make all those felted mittens for Heartland Knits, that went really badly. I have a front loader, and you cannot control the felting process as well as with a top loader. You can't stop the cycle and take it out and see how small it's gotten. So I'm like, what was I thinking? I can knit socks and wear those, right? But still, I kind of wanted to knit slippers. So I was going through, is this it? Yeah, I was going through magazines, and I had this Knit Scene Easy special from 2010. It's just full of simple projects. And I saw these. Easy Peasy Slippers by Lisa Schroyer. And this is what they look like right there. Now, I knit one of them out of this yarn. I didn't even bother to ball it up. I just knit from the skein because I like to live dangerously. And I don't know where it is. I wore it. I didn't love it. It didn't fit well. I used some modifications to make it a bit smaller because I have like a 7.5 foot, and I thought the amount of stitches that they recommended would be too many. It didn't work out. The pattern is really badly written, let me tell you. And I mean, really badly written. So I did some kind of comments for a magazine that was giving you easy patterns. You had to do some math and some figuring things out on your own. So kind of a fail there. But Ravelry is always to the rescue. People had, made mods on there and said what was wrong with the pattern. There's not even errata on this pattern. I know knitting patterns have mistakes in them quite frequently. Despite tech editing and test knitters, things slip by. And that is okay. That's to be expected almost. What is not okay is to not post errata. Okay? All right. I'm off my soapbox. Anyway, that's a fail. Slippers? No. No slippers. Just socks. Okay. Glad we have that settled. So, let's see. What else? What else am I doing? I am weaving. And my loom is set up. I'm not going to undo it because things happen when you do that. But let me show you the yarn I'm weaving with. This is both warp and weft. It is yarn I won on the Lem Knits Crochet podcast, which is no longer being made. Lauren McMorty, which she has a lot of cool patterns out there. And I won this yarn. It's a merino cashmere nylon, I believe. And the dyer is Aloha Blue. I made a note of that, but I don't have the ball band. And it's blue. It's all one word, and it's BLU. And it's fun colors, very Bollywood kind of colors. I love pink and orange together. And so here's a shuttle full of this lovely yarn, and I love weaving sock yarns, using them for both warp and weft. And I'm getting some interesting pooling. I wasn't sure I liked it at first, but I think it's going to be a lovely scarf. I might be beating the weft too hard though. I hope it's not stiff. So I haven't woven in quite a while, so there's always, getting back in the groove and relearning what you may have already learned and forgotten. All right, the last thing that is ongoing is my Shelly Kang, my sock yarn blanket. Shelly Kang is the designer. I've taken to calling it my Shelly blanket in my head, and that's from a lady on Instagram, Yarnogram, who calls it her Shelly, and we're doing a scrap swap. And she's in Sweden. I have yet to mail her package out because things have been crazy. But I have been knitting on this blanket. And let me show you what I've done this week. Just finish this little row. Okay. I've got a square going out of 3U's Twisted in Fiber. So what have I done this week? I've taken to doing the Knit and Wolf thing where she puts a stitch marker on her most recent squares. There's this one, the lovely rainbowy. This one is new. I didn't put a marker on it. This is out of my Cormo that I had a little bit left, a 2-ply. Isn't it? Oh, so squishy. This one, that's Patton's Croy. This one is from Seashore Sharon. This one is from Seashore Sharon. This one is from Seashore Sharon. There's my current square. Let me show you. So you pick up alongside of neighboring squares and just knit up. I think I need to start weaving in, take a end weaving in session again, do some ends. That one's a new one. That's from Seashore Sharon. This one is Dyed by Me. That's a new one this week. And this one is a new one this week. Oh, and that one too. So it's still not quite the width I would like. I think another 4 or 5 squares will do it. Oh, so much yarn. So much fun. Okay, let me just look at my list and see if that is all of the whips. There I go with my needle. Okay. Well, there's sort of one other one, and that would be over here. I've had this orange yarn in my stash for years. This is a Classic Elite yarn. It's Princess. It's got all sorts of stuff in it, and I should have brought a ball band, but off the top of my head, it's got merino and angora and nylon and other stuff. And I got this for 60% off. I have 11 balls, and it needs to be knit, and I'm feeling the orange color lately. So again, I was going through patterns and so forth, and I thought about casting on, where is the picture? From a Wendy Bernard book that I got from the library. Let's see if I can find the name of the pattern. What does it say? French word. Okay. It's called Ingénue. And this is from one of her, I think, a custom fit book. And I've had this pattern and the yarn for a very long time. This is what it looks like. It's got this interesting stitch pattern, a funnel neck, and then the stitch pattern on the neck, the hem, and the hems of the sleeve. I don't think this is happening though. I cast on, I don't know. My mojo's, something's wrong. I don't know. Something's going on. I'm kind of thinking I'm just gonna design a raglan. Maybe use some of the numbers in the Ann Budd Sweater Knitters book. No, what's it called? Knitter's Handy Book of Sweater Patterns. Yes, I'm looking at my bookshelf. And put some elements in there that I like. Some other ones I considered were again, out of all these magazines I have that I just don't really use. Considered this one. This is from a knit zine. This is Winter Spring 2011. That would be super fun with those big pockets. Magnanimity Cardi by Vera Valimaki. So the color is just so, I thought you needed a really simple or a fairly simple pattern. I also considered this one, although it's not really a simple pattern, the Farmer's Market cardigan by Connie Chang Chinchillo. That's probably not going to happen. Then there's the Ginny's cardigan. And that's from the unofficial Harry Potter Knits. What else do we have? Okay, this one, Nora's Sweater. I have a fair amount of yarn. Isn't that pretty? That is by Pamela Powers, and that is from Interweave Knits, Winter 2009. And then, what is in here? I don't know why I had this one out. Anyway, there must be some reason. Another Interweave Knits. So, this is going to marinate for a little bit. I might go and do something myself as far as making up a sweater. That is it for works in progress. Spinning. I've definitely been spinning. Hobbledehoy. Art Bat. Butterfly Migration. 3.2 ounces. You can see my little scratch up there. I got 200 yards of a 2-ply. Those are the colors, although it's brighter. The greens really pop out. So much stuff. Let me open it up. So much fun to spin, so soft. Fairly well balanced. A lovely spin is gonna make a hat. Or it could be warp for a weaving project. Maybe I'll design a hat with this too. I have some thoughts. So, Butterfly Migration. It's my first hobbledehoy bat from Shenandoah. Then we have my Maryland Mermaid. You may recall that I was knitting my Maryland Mermaid as a single into a honey cowl. It was so fine and so delicate, and it was going to be too pilly because it's a superfine merino stellina blend. It was a good call. I ripped it out and I Navajo plied the single. I like this much better. The colors did not really get muddied. I was worried they would be a little bit too mixed up. Not at all, because the colors are amazing. This is a Gourmet Stash braid, ice dyed, and it is sparkly, and I think that this could be an amazing hat or cowl. So it's definitely more durable in this form than as a single. It was just a very special skein, and I just didn't want it to get all roughed up as it would have as a single. So this is about 130 yards of an end ply. More hand spun. I spun 2 ounces of Clun Forest Roving from Knit Spin Farm on Etsy, and this is very lovely, very rustic. It's a 2-ply. Did I say that? And it smells amazing. It smells amazing. I don't know what kind of wool wash they used, but wow. Or Joanna Spring, I should see what wool wash she used. So this reminds me a lot of the Hogs Island wool that I spun from Mount Vernon. It's got a dry hand, like a dry touch to it, a dry hand in the fiber, and definitely a bit of a halo. Not, you can see the ply definition isn't, it's there, but it's not wow. It's somehow sort of this impressionistic effect of things not being so distinct. And I don't know how else to describe it, but except to say it definitely got softer. It's not scratchy. It's not soft. It's not merino. But super fun. I spun it woolen, obviously, and that's probably why things look a little bit fuzzy in this yarn. But it came out lovely. Very lovely. I'm not sure what I'll do with it. Maybe dye it. Maybe not. Just knit it. How many yards? 150. I wrote that down here. 150 yards. So pretty good yardage for a woolen 2 ounces 2-ply. And as I was spinning that, I was thinking to myself, this is a first for me. Clun Forest. I've never spun Clun Forest. I was thinking, how many breeds have I spun? And as I was sitting there, because you can spin woolen one-handed, is what I did, I wrote down with my other hand all the things I could come up with. So here's my list. Jacob, Romney, Clun Forest, Merino, BFL, Finn, Falkland, these are all sheep breeds, obviously, Rambouillet, Cormo, Alpaca, well, that's not sheep, Camel, Cashmere, not sheep, Icelandic, Cotswold, Coopworth, Corriedale, Border Leicester, Targhee, Polworth, Hogs Island, Shetland, and Gotland. And I also put in yak. Again, not a sheep. Yay. It's a good start. So I do love spinning different types of breeds, and thank you, Joanna Spring, for having some Clun Forest for me to try. Okay, what else is new? What else did I spin this week? All right. I did a lot of spindle spinning also. I have 2 cops. I have one of my waterweed, which is 50/50 yak silk from Gourmet Stash. And then I have 1 cop of my Smaugs diamond waistcoat. I have more in here. I have some more Smaug on my bead whirl. I'm going great guns with that. And what else? I have my Tackley. Took my life in my hands and I spun on this bad boy. It's so pointy. Oh my gosh, the baby camel is so sticky too. Here's the baby camel and Muga silk bat. I'm just leaving it in the basket because my gosh. All right, it just wants to pick up fibers from everywhere. So there it is. It's got a lot of fuzz on it right now because it was sitting next to the bat. There's my temporary cup up there, and spinning very thin and very fast, and I like it for that purpose. I can think of a few more things I might try on the Tackley, and that was from Hipstring Creations. Got that at Shenandoah. And the rest of my spinning is mostly talking about, wait a minute, put this away so it's safe. It's mostly talking about fiber prep. You remember I finished spinning my white portion of my Jacob fleece, and I moved on last week to the mixed portion, so the brown and white together. The white portion, how I prepared it, is different from how I prepared this stuff. What I done was make hand-carded rolags with the white, and it was okay. But I found a better way, and that is to use my drum carder and to diz roving off of my drum carder. Now, if you're not familiar with dizzing, the benefits of it kind of eluded me at first. I'm thinking, why would anybody want to do that? Just make a roll lug, or a bat for that matter, off of your drum carder. But let me show you what I made. And I got better at it as I went along. This is one basket of hand-is roving of the mixed Jacob. And this is my other basket of it. It is all prepped and ready to spin. I should have weighed the amount of ounces that I have, but this is about 1 ounce right here. And I drum carded, I filled up my drum carder with about 1 ounce to 1.5 ounces of fiber. I just did one go through the carder. I didn't take off the bat and re-blend it. That could have been an option. In fact, it might have been a good option for blending these fibers more. That's all right. So I took a needle gauge and a crochet hook, and I put it against the drum carder. And I used the crochet hook to pick out, just to pull out just a little bit of fiber through one of these smaller holes. I think I used the 3 or 4 millimeter, or US hole. US hole. At any rate, God, that arm looks terrible. At any rate, you get this sort of really nice, almost pin drafted roving. This is not my best work here. I'll show you one that looks good. And as I got better at it, I was able to get longer strands. And you do get blips, but you can just draft those out or take out a net or whatever. It's almost like pin drafted roving. So, not always even, but I think this is going to be great to spin. Great. So tons of that, and you just sort of keep this snug up against the drum carder and pull out the roving as you go, as you move this down the drum and spin the drum. So definite learning curve, but I was happy with the stuff I was making by the middle of it. Very physical. If you've got a fiber artist who's doing this, that's a lot of work. A lot of extra elbow grease in the fiber prep. So very fun. I'm excited to spin it. I think it's gonna make better quality yarn than my roll logs, because my roll logs were not great. Now I'm a little bummed about the difference in quality of the yarn I'm going to get, that I anticipate I'm going to get. But I learned something new, so just go with that. All right, that's it for the fiber, except for the fiber and spinning, except for this. I cleaned my craft room, as I said, and I took my rambouillet, my pound of rambouillet, and put it in a lovely basket. And I just had to share. I just needed to show you that. Look at that. Look. It's like a beautifully decorated cake that looks too pretty to eat, right? This is too pretty to spin. I just want to have it always. And my son said, you should give that to me so I can sleep on it. I love that my children get it. So anyway, just had to share. Isn't that beautiful? This is a long podcast, looking at the time here. So last thing, I'm not going to do an Ask Fibertown today, because the next Ask Fibertown is such an interesting and involved question that I need to think about it and have enough time to speak to it. If you have an Ask Fibertown question, put it up there on the thread, and I will gladly answer it. Up and coming. That's the last thing. Let's see. Up and coming. Continue with all I'm doing. And also figure out how to get my mojo back. I'm sure it'll come back naturally, but I need kind of the perfect pattern. Well, my daughter's birthday is next month. And I have had this Jameson Shetland Spindrift. There we go, Shetland Spindrift. I bought this in Rhode Island on a trip. Where's the other one? I have a pink one too. I'm thinking of making the Spilly Jane cupcake mitts for her. I already have the pattern, and her mittens rather. Oh, there's a pink one here too. Anyway, I have the perfect colors, the perfect yarn, and it's a really cool pattern. So that's kind of up and coming. That's it. Oh, a quickie before I say goodbye. Disa's Craft Works is that right? Disa's Craft Works on YouTube. I think that's correct. She is an Instagram buddy who recorded her first podcast in Sweden. And she lives in the country, and she dyes with natural dyes, things she finds in the forest, mushrooms, etc. And she does other handwork. And she had a really good first podcast. Very interesting. She's on YouTube. Her English is brilliant. She thinks it's not, but it is. And I would recommend it. So go check it out. Also, The Dancing Geek is another YouTube podcast that I've recently discovered. I mentioned him already. And he does super long episodes. You could break it up if you want to, but interesting, fun. So 2 new podcasts for you all to check out if you are so inclined. Okay, so I will see you again next week. And don't forget the coupon code I cannot say it. Coupon code FRU. Don't forget the MPG multi-purpose garment. This is how it looks. Come on. Got your little cowly bit back here. Check it out. See if it's something you want to knit. And until next week, y'all take care.